All right. Welcome, everyone, to Session Zero for Invasion, the newest Dungeon Jedi Master play by post. Today, we're going to go through. I was kind of going through, I was pulling up everything for the campaign, and I always like to do a Session Zero, but I realized nobody ever streams their Session Zero. So wanted to do that for the start of Invasion so you guys can see a little bit of the Session Zero process. I actually just made a YouTube video on our Dungeon Jedi Master YouTube going over things you should cover at a Session Zero with a cool little handout too that you can take away and use for your table. So definitely check that out. But I don't think I even said my name. My name is Tegan Jenkins. I'm one half of Dungeon Jedi Masters. And today we're just going to be going over all things Invasion. So we're going to get to meet the crew, hear a little bit about their PCs, see a little bit of the lore for the story, everything that's going on within the current galaxy for Star Wars. And this is a little bit of Legends, a little bit of homebrew. It will kind of go a little bit more into that and kind of everything that's going on pre-invasion. And then also get to just kind of go over some of our table rules, some of my own little DM style stuff. And then just any campaign questions that you guys have as the players or any of the viewers have as well. So before I go too far in depth, though, I do want to let the rest of the players introduce themselves. So I'll go. I'm going to order in my screen. So I'm going to go right below me to Ad Kimmel. Just introduce yourself.
Oh boy, I get to go first. I am going to be playing Vars Kadera, a Mandalorian fighter who has been around long enough to see the start of the conflict and has been involved in different aspects of it as it's gone on. At the start of it, I don't know how much you want me to give away here.
That's perfect. Unless there's anything else you want to add, or did you say class 2 already?
Oh, decided to mix it up and go human fighter. You know, get crazy. Yeah. That's it for me.
Oh, and one thing I should mention too, brand new.
Oh yeah, groundbreaking.
Nice thing with Star Wars 5e is the fighters have so much that each one plays unique too, which is fun. But one thing, and I forgot to mention this as we go in, with Invasion, one of the biggest pieces is too, this is going to be kind of a desperate bid to save the galaxy from itself as the invasion is going on. So each of the players has a different faction that they're representing. So Vars is going to be part of that Mandalorian faction, and we'll go into a little bit of the lore of them today, but they definitely have their own things cooking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next on my list, who is next on my list on that side? Computers froze on me. So it looks like Keith will have you go next.
Yeah, so my character is Dash. He is a fighter also. He is going to go the explosives route. I was actually trying to find the name real quick. I forgot the archetype on it. But, you know, the fighter one that does all the bombs.
Demolition specialist.
The demolition specialist, thank you. And so Dash grew up as an orphan on Ord Mantell. So he doesn't really know his real name. He got the nickname of Dash from the other orphans because, quite simply, he was the fastest. So he would take all the stuff and dash away. Little grab and run deals. So he joined up with the Republic. They were recruiting for the war effort. He's seen an opportunity to get off the planet. Found out that he's got some good kind of natural talent with bombs and big guns. So he was moved to kind of an ordnance. He served with the Republic for many years in the war until he had a little bit of an accident with the cooling on one of his explosives. And that caused a little bit of psychological damage. So he's some people might call him unstable. He would disagree with that assessment. So I think this is going to be a pretty fun character. I've been looking forward to this one for a while.
Right, so definitely keep it interesting. One thing I forgot to ask you when you posted, does he have any cybernetics, or is he still pretty whole after the coolant leak?
Yeah, no cybernetics. So he naturally healed. He does have a little bit of scarring, mostly on his hands, but nothing to his face or nothing that would be very visible.
Perfect. Oh, and I forgot another thing that I forgot to mention at the start too. I am giving away 3 months of Dropout TV to one of our lucky viewers today. So if you want to enter yourself into the giveaway for that, type invasion into the comments, and Nightbot will hopefully catch that for us. So invasion, all lowercase. Don't. I think you can put it in multiple times. It won't give you multiple runs for it, but definitely we'll make sure that everything is cataloged in there, and that way you'll be able to be entered into the giveaway for it. So give that a go, and you guys should be able to get involved. So just invasion in there. So when you guys get a chance, but perfect. Looking forward to seeing see who comes away with the prize on that side. But we'll go next on my list. Tiberius, you're up.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Did he drop?
I can hear.
All
No,
right.
you said Tiberius. Did he
I'll
drop?
be.
So I can
You
hear you,
guys should be
Tiberius.
able to hear me, right?
I can
I
hear.
can hear.
Tiberius is Talus. So I'm going to be playing Talus Dici. He is a Baran scientist and an engineer. So he's kind of the opposite of what most Barans look like. They usually appear pale in complexion, but since he's kind of traveled to various locations and was basically raised on Coruscant, he does have kind of like a slightly darker complexion than what's normal. But as far as being a scientist, he's primarily focused on biochemistry and natural sciences, and he's also skilled with tinkering and also biotechnologies. So overall, he's a big brainy guy who's a chemist, a medic, an inventor, and a technician, and he's good at all of it too. So he's not really just a jack of all trades. But Zerka has kind of seized the opportunity to employ him as one of their prime planetary and natural science researchers and kind of sidebar medical practitioner as needed. So he is actually settled on Vela and is in the midst of the kind of conflict that's going on there at this time, with a role of just finding the highest deposits of Tabana gas and radium ore for Zerka to capitalize on. So in the midst of all that, he's keeping the crews alive in a otherwise volatile environment and kind of just surviving and being indifferent to everything that's going around him as long as his projects are funded and whatnot. That's him.
Perfect. I'm glad somebody chose Zerka. I always love having a little bit of corporate interest in there. So it's just something that can make it a little different than the usual Jedi versus Sith in the galaxy far, far away. It could definitely have some fun stories come along with that. All right. Next on my list, Burger, you're up.
All right. So I just explained Caesar, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. So just a little bit about Caesar.
So I'm going to be playing a tactician's pursuit scholar Gungan named Caesar. Caesar is a very tall and gangly Gungan, very gaunt he definitely a bit of you know this man has gone through some stuff. That kind of look to him, that kind of aura to him. He's missing his thumb on his left hand as well as his left eye. Having only a glass eye, no cybernetics there. Dang, I'm slightly drawing a blank.
No worries, man.
Yeah, sorry. I think this would be pretty obvious for anyone who'd ever heard of Caesar before. He definitely is very infamous, and this has only changed in the last year or so. Has been part of the Dominion, but has recently joined over to the Republic side and has been making his best efforts to make the Republic as strong as possible. For better or worse to many people's eyes.
Nice. Yeah, it was definitely loved kind of the flip turn on that side too. I think there'll be some fun with that, especially if you guys come across some people from Dominion too. All right. Next on my list, Fanchin, you're up.
All right. Small point. Tiberius. I had to go through Twitch to actually hear him. I don't see him in our little chat at all. I don't even see his video. I don't know if I did something on my end or.
Yeah, I can see him. Can everybody else see him? Okay.
Yeah.
Should
I
I
can
just?
hear him. I don't see the video, but I can hear him.
I can see his video
I
too.
couldn't hear either. So.
Yeah, I would just try refreshing.
Hello, test.
Okay. Well, I'll do my thing and then we'll do that. I am going to be playing Geert Octo. He's from is it Camus? Camus? I've never known how to pronounce it. I'm going Camus because there is a city near me called Camus. So
You get to
I'll
call
just
it.
almost same spelling, just one less A. And he's a member of Black Sun. I kind of wanted to talk to you about how that would go, but they've got a really odd method of operation because they're kind of more in the shadows and less, storefront type crime where you know where they are. But Geert is a bit of he's like a vagabond of sorts. He wanders from place to place. He's a bit of a con man. Seems to be his shtick. Taking things from people is second nature, and to that end, he was a Corsair Sentinel. It's the path I'm going for him. Kind of fits the bill with him being able to just disarm and steal things from people. So I've never been a face character before, so this will be interesting.
Well,
not one of my stronger skills.
By charisma alone, you're certainly the face of the party. I think you're the only one that's.
We're all doomed.
I mean, I can try. I'll probably roll like crap, but I can try.
I'll just yell at them enough that they'll be intimidated into doing what we want, I guess. Don't know if that'll work for everyone, but all right. I think for now, I think that's probably enough about him. I'll give that refresh a try, see if that fixes it.
Perfect. Well, I think that's everybody, unless I forgot someone. No, that's everybody.
That'll do it.
Perfect. So just another reminder to everybody too. So we said some new people in the stream. If we are giving away 3 months of Dropout TV, they came out with their latest season, Starstruck, using SW5E, and Todd and I were fortunate to be able to help them do a little bit of consulting on how to get that up and running for the new game. And I've seen the first 2 episodes of it so far, and it's hilarious. They kill it. So definitely wanted to give a chance for some of our fans too. So if you want to enter in, just put Invasion into the chat. It is case sensitive, so I put them all lowercase. So just roll Invasion in there, and Nightbot will put you into the running. Seeing some of the chat, though, apparently it's a little sensitive, so don't put it in too many times or it may kind of freak out a little bit. But if you put it in the first time, it should load up for you and then put you into the running. And for anybody that it does kind of give you the moderation, I am keeping track of it and make sure that everybody is still eligible in there too, just in case it does come out for you. Perfect. So we introduced the crew. One of the things I wanted to kind of go over to with this, so every year Dungeon Jedi Masters does a Patreon campaign. So for our Patreon supporters, we give away or we provide access to a campaign that we run. We release it bi-monthly. So there's usually 6 different adventures that you can run. And this year we're kind of keying it up with the Invasion Live Play campaign. So for our dungeon or our master level Dungeon Jedi Masters, they actually just got to see Adventure 1. Fachin's already told me he won't spoil himself on that, so that's good on that side.
I downloaded it and threw it in the folder, but it's unopened. Promise.
So one of the nice things too, because we thought it'd be a couple cool ideas. So if you could see how it actually plays live and get some cool tips and tricks for running it with your players. So each time when there's only 6 of them throughout the year. So each time there is a session that I know is for sure going to be one of the Patreon ones, like the initial starting session. I'll call it out at the head of time so you guys can see kind of how it runs, how it plays, and hopefully be able to play with your players too. So that's a little different that we're doing for the 2020 or 2022. I keep forgetting to say two for this campaign. Perfect. So after kind of the introduction stuff, I want to give you guys just a little bit of the layout of the land too. So I'm going to switch it over to the map screen. So you guys should be able to see the Roll20 combat map. For the players, you guys will have to go to your own Roll20. But one of the big pieces with this campaign is I really wanted to give a Mass Effect type feel. So Mass Effect 3. So it's going to be a lot of the galaxy tearing itself apart. The Dominion and Republic have been at war for a little over a decade, with kind of actions being taken even longer than that. It's been a long, bitter campaign, and everybody's kind of out for themselves. Everybody's looking at their own interests and trying to see how they can advance their faction. And in the midst of all this, the Yuzon Vong are going to invade. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a backstory to it too. So you should be able to see now the map, and you see how everything's kind of color-coded. The major factions in this galaxy are, of course, the Republic, and you see they've got control of kind of the center, the core of the world. They've recently done a major push outward towards the Outer Rim, and you'll see that along there too. And you guys will see, and this is just at that green mark there too, that's the terminus system where Vela is located. And Vela is where the campaign is going to start. Vela's pretty much, it's been a backwater planet for hundreds of years, not even a part of the Republic before this conflict took place. But one of the Zerka mines, or Zerka drones, uncovered vast deposits of Tabana gas and the minerals necessary to make beradium, which is used for high-yield explosives, thermal detonators being one of the big ones. So being in the midst of a long and drawn-out war, both sides naturally jumped at the opportunity to take control of it. So Vela's become the latest front of the war, with the Dominion battling against the Republic over the skies of the planet, on the grounds, just kind of causing a bit of chaos and a bit of destruction on the planet, and just making life a lot harder for its citizens as each nation just squabbles over what they can get from it. And outside of just the major nations, everybody has a little bit of a hand of it. Because Zerka, they founded the planet, so of course they claim mining rights for it, regardless of who gets it. So whether it be the Republic or the Dominion, either way, Zerka gets paid, as the corporate interests usually do. Black Sun's looking to see what they can skim off of it. They're always, both the Black Sun and Exchange are looking to see what type of deals they can make, what type of profit can come off of this newfound discovery. And then you've got some of the other players that are there too, with the Hutts trying to see what deals they can make. You've got the Mandalorians always kind of peering around and seeing how this could advance their own nation's causes. Oh, and I forgot to mention them too. So they have the Mandalorians have reacquired Mandalore from the Republic after betraying the Dominion. There's a new Mandalore named Mandalore the Exalted, and he used to be partnered up with the Dominion. But after taking over his own fleet from the Dominion and retaking Mandalore, he decided to go his own way, claiming the space as his own and claiming the Mandalorians as independent nation. So he's kind of on his own on that side, surrounded by people who don't really care for him. He's got the Republic, the Dominion, who's out for revenge after taking the fleet from them, the Hapen government too. All pretty much in his bubble, but the Mandalorians are proud people. They're definitely they're up for the fight and up for the struggle on that side. So that's just a bit of it, and basically a lot of this campaign will be not even just dealing with the Yuzon Vong, which we'll go into in a minute, but just going and try to see if you can get people to let aside their own self-interest and actually go and try to do what's necessary for the galaxy. This is really one of those ones initially I thought may have been a little too heavy-handed before, because I think people would act in their own self-interest and protect the galaxy more often than not, but not get too much of the weeds. But seeing some of the craziness from the last couple years, I can certainly see people really going after their own interests nowadays. So I think that will fit well, and we'll have a fun little backdrop to the campaign. So that's just a little bit about the galaxy and the lore stuff. Kind of give you a bit of where they're standing. The big change up, and you'll see this in session 1 and 2 of the campaign is the Yuzon Vong getting into the mix. So the Vong, they've been lurking around for a little while and probably helping stir up a bit of this chaos, but they're going to be coming in and really just shaking everything up and trying to take the galaxy out when it's at its weakest. And you'll see them pop up at Vela first. And after kind of really go through that first session, I think we've got some fun things planned for it that the crew will definitely enjoy. Perfect. So that's just a little bit about the campaign lore. One thing so we've already kind of touched on the PCs, a little bit of the campaign lore. One thing I want to give the players a little bit of a heads up on, because there has to be some rolling for all getting together. So I wanted to have a little bit of rolling today. And I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to pick 1 week or 2 weeks, but 1 week being mechanical downtime. So you can pick any of the downtime opportunities, and your character could explore that, whether it be if you wanted to build some enhanced item or spy on somebody, whatever it may be, you guys could do that. So I'll give you a minute to think about that side too. But I also wanted to see kind of just as much as you're able to share without going too in depth on your PC. What would something like what would their typical or what would their week have been like before getting to Vela or before the invasion kicks off? So I'll give you guys a little bit to think about that. There's still a few things I want to go over before that, but just a heads up, we'll get some good rolls in that side. See how everybody does in their downtime week, and listen a little bit more about the PCs and how they tick.
What are the options for downtime again?
Oh yeah, definitely post it in the thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things, you'll see it in the Wretched Hives book. Once my computer loads, I'll post that link for you in our Discord. But yeah, it goes over just different things your character can do for just either building things, spying on people. You can do some soldiering work and things like that too. So it just gives you some cool options on that side. And that's one of the things too with this game as well. I will be using the downtime rules pretty often. I'm hoping to have each adventure kind of last between about 3 sessions or so, 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 2. And at each arc or each adventure, there usually will be at least a week or 2 of downtime where you guys can split between doing some of the mechanical downtime pieces and then just exploring different goals and items or kind of RP and flavor for your character to help build that out and help expand the world a little bit too. I always love using the downtime. There's just so much cool they can do with that, both on the mechanic side, but also just expanding what your character does when they're not in the midst of the chaos. Perfect. So before we get on that, just going to go through a couple of the core or the big table rules before I go into some of the expanded rules that we've done. A couple of you guys have played with me before. Keith and Berger were in the Hunted campaign. And Fonte, we haven't really played together. We've been on the Dungeons and Master Play by Post campaign. So our first live time.
We popped into that Living Force one.
Oh yeah, I did. I forgot about that. Yeah.
What was that called? The
Halloween
one.
The Halloween one. It was Night of the
Living Force or something.
It was a Night of the Living Force. Okay, yeah. So I forgot about that. Yeah, we did play together.
Briefly, yeah, it was fun. Keeson finally got to join us?
He did,
He'd been sitting in the waiting room of that channel for years.
Just hanging out at the cantina. Just hanging. Oh, sweet. So let's give you guys a little bit of my DM style. I'm pretty laid back as a DM. With this campaign, I'm shooting for a cool 60-40 mix between RP and combat. I'm hoping for some cool RP on this side, especially with a lot of this is going to be trying to get the factions to jump on board versus going against, kind of going after their own stuff. So a lot of cool RP will be on that side for hopefully convincing not only your own factions to jump on board, but some of the others, and putting aside the grievances and not trying to get any sucker punches while all the craziness is going on. So we have a little bit on that side, but also some cool combat. The Vong, and we'll go into them too a little bit more in depth. But the Vong are a great, kind of a cool enemy from a D&D standpoint because they are just brutal. They are very martial species, a very honor-based, glory-based type species that they go for the throat. So we're going to have some cool combat, some good tactical combat. That's one of the things I love most of D&D is just getting to play out some tense situations and see how what the players do on that side. And there'll be tons of opportunity with that. Looking over, I was kind of glancing. I haven't done a full review of everybody's character sheet yet, but looking over it, you definitely have some cool options. There are some nice synergies too for going up against the Vogue and really making it interesting.
Man, I hope I ain't gonna regret having no Constitution modifier.
Especially as a scholar, it'll keep it interesting. But I mean, that fits from some of his backstory. I don't give anything away. That definitely fits Caesar.
I know. That's why I did it.
You won't have to regret it for long. So
Don't find yourself in a Senate rotunda with a bunch of your angry colleagues brandishing knives, and you should be okay.
Nice. I hadn't even thought of that. Man, if you guys go to the Senate, yeah, just watch your back.
Oh, that's rough with the downtime. I was about to
they
pick
don't
up
have
just
their
like-
hands behind their backs.
I was actually saying he was going to research the Senate.
Oh. So there'll be some good combat. And so with that too, I'll kind of go over my philosophy on death a little bit too, with player or PC death, I should say. So PC death is possible. Burger, it's kind of funny you mentioned that too, because Burger was a PC Burger's PC was the one I killed last campaign with a poor Gil. So that is definitely something that is on the table. So strategic play is definitely something I encourage. Just to make sure everybody makes it through, especially with the Vong, because they are a bit of a vicious enemy. They're more likely to hit somebody that's on the ground than a lot of others. So that's something I'll kind of give a hint on that side, just to make sure that if you do fall or somebody goes unconscious, healing is definitely a good path forward. And I'd recommend everybody has a couple med packs on them. Perfect, but that's I'll kind of switch over to I don't know who is ready first, but who wants to go with the what they've done for what they want to do for their week of downtime?
Let's see. How many days is a week?
So
you
Star
going?
Wars is super weird. It's a 5-day week. Like I forgot why. Oh, I found that out for the play-by post. Yeah, it's a 5-day week, surprisingly.
Okay. In that case, I think I have 2 days, 1 day, 2 day. Did you have a chance to look over the blueprints that I had set up?
I haven't yet, but
sheet?
definitely, as long as they follow the guidelines, you can use any of those.
Okay, yeah, I did the math based off the crafting, with it being 250 credits a day. I have a 2 times crafting speed, and I did all the math and threw it in there for how many I'd be able to craft per day. But during Talus's week, or was it? It was just a week, right?
Just a week.
Okay. Talus would have been managing the facility, or whatever capacity he has as far as power there within the Zerka facility that he works in, paying attention to various measurements of the Tabana gas being siphoned and Baradium ore being refined, and I'm assuming shipped off planet or created, or however it's stored and sent out. So he'd be doing that, and then of course doing his sideline gig, which he kind of cares a little bit more about with research, and then also taking care of the people there in that medical capacity. So as far as downtime activities, he would have crafted or created some med packs, some trauma kits, and especially with the poisonous nature of the area and everything, some antitox kits. So if I did my math right, I should be able to, within this time, create 6 med packs, 20 trauma kits. 6 med packs will take 2 days. Trauma kits 20 for 1 day, and antitox kit will take 2 days. So that'll be all 5 of my days, and all those are crafted at double speed. I should have pulled up a link here for what I need to roll.
This is
I
why
think it's a
love
D20
engineering.
plus. Yeah, definitely. So
Well,
it's
all
a
those are
D20.
standard items, right? Or are they any of those enhanced?
Yes. Nope. All of them are standard items, standard
Yes.
base items. Just up.
Perfect. Yeah, as long as all of
Okay,
those are
so
unenhanced for crafting, you actually for unenhanced items, you actually don't need to roll anything for crafting. It's only the enhanced
oh
items
really?
for crafting that you need to roll for. So yeah, so as long as
Oh,
none of those
okay.
are enhanced, you're good to go. You've made a little medical stockpile for yourself.
Yeah. So starting off, we've got 6 med packs, 20 trauma kits, and 1 anti-tox kit. And then I'll just go ahead and add to my inventory now.
Perfect.
And I'll also minus the credits that costs too, right?
Definitely, yeah. So it's half half cost of the base item, the minus away.
Right. Okay.
Perfect. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, so Dash can go next. So he would have gone and tried to find him some baradium, and try to craft up some grenades. So I'll probably spend 2 days crafting. So I'll make 4 frag grenades, and then probably about 12. Well, I'll make it 10. Make it easy there. 10 power cells. So a day crafting the grenades, and probably another day crafting the power cells, all standard, unadvanced. And then the next 3 days, probably just try to find some contacts on the planet, try to schmooze up some other Republic forces that might be there.
Nice. Yeah, so definitely give. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go.
Oh yeah, definitely give me a either persuasion or just a straight charisma save if you'd like.
This is gonna be good. Almost dead. Yeah, so Mike, they're the same. Let's just do a charisma save. Oh, I think I clicked it. All right, I might go twice. I'll take the first one if it goes up there. All right, 6.
All right. So you kind of go through, try to kind of just get to know some people at the Republic bars. You find one of the favorite cantinas, the Drunken Jawa. But unfortunately, you see a lot of the Republic soldiers are kind of giving you a wide berth. And you see one of them gives you a look too. It goes, "We know what happened at Mustafar. We don't want to deal with your kind." It just kind of completely turns away from you after saying that.
Yeah, as I'm walking through the bar, like they will like visibly see me like keep like peeking down into my jacket and just be like, "Frank, no, we can't play right now, Frank, no."
You see the guy that kind of turned away. He kind of gives a brief look behind him with a look of both like scorn, but also a little bit of worry that you're talking to something in your jacket. But he goes back to his drink pretty quickly afterwards. So you guys are some good crafters too. So you got a ton of grenades now, a ton of medicine. You guys are pretty stocked up. Who wants to go next?
I'll let Caesar go next.
All right.
All right. So, Caesar's downtime. So, downtime is basically his free time, right? He's still doing his job for the Republic.
Definitely. So you're still doing your job for the Republic, but you can kind of get some stuff in with your free time.
All right. And with this, should I explain some of Caesar's daily routine at all, or just go
Oh
through
yeah,
them?
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, all righty then. So, this is Caesar is very systematic about things. He wakes up in the morning, starts up classical music with the video of the incident every day from a different angle. Kind at the 5th day, kind of goes back to the first one. Has himself a boiled egg, a nice glass of red or white wine, and watches it. And then after the incident part, synced up with the climax of the classical music, he goes off and does his job and does it damn well. So what he's going to be doing for his spare time, his free time, is researching more into the Republic and its interworkings of its politics, trying to find out why the Republic has failed its people and its troops. So with research, I believe it is a lore check.
Yeah, definitely. Give me a lore check.
Unfortunately, I planned on doing it at level 4 for a feat, grabbing practice, but for now he is not proficient in lore.
Solid roll, though.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that's a plus 10. Yeah, so give me a D100 roll.
All right, then. With plus 10?
With plus 10.
Hey!
Solid. So, remind me exactly. So he's looking for kind of like Republic procedures in the Senate. What exactly is? What's his angle for it?
He's trying to figure out where exactly things went wrong. Why the bureaucracy is being so slow. Why did they not take Dominus as a serious threat? Why have they allowed their territory to be conquered the way they have?
Perfect. Yeah. So let me see. What do you get? So you got 85. You learned 2 pieces of lore, which kind of fits too. So as you're researching through kind of Senate procedures and just doing a deep dive of the Republic, because the Dominion's been around in force for about 15 years, but the Republic didn't go to war with them until about 10 years ago. The Jedi Order jumped in probably about 14 years ago, and for a while they were fighting on their own. You see that a lot of people didn't take the Dominion seriously. They thought they'd be another flash in the pan Sith, but eventually they'd be dragged down by infighting and just chaos like most Sith are. But the Dominion somehow just persevered and just kept pushing and pushing through. And you saw that was a good portion of the Senate thought that they would just drag themselves down. Others, like especially the senator from Kaut, Averin Wren, they have interest in wars taking place. Kaut builds a lot of the Republic's galactic warships and capital ships and their dreadnoughts. So they were okay with the war taking place. And if the Dominion could be a bigger, badder threat, that's more warships for them. A lot of other nations and planets had that same thought process that, hey, if this goes to war, we can get paid. So let's ignore it for long enough so it's worth actually going to war for. And the Republic's bureaucracy allowed them to just slow things right to a halt.
He would respect the self-interest if not for the incompetency and, in his view, how easy it has been to just stomp over every Republic resistance in war. So it's just, for him, incompetence. Got it. Going on to the next bits of lore there.
Definitely. So that's the first piece there. The second piece, this kind of coincides with it, but before the new prime or the new Supreme Chancellor took office, the Republic was led by a Jedi, Supreme Chancellor Avesh Kato, who is a Kamasi, and while he kind of proactively tried to push the Republic into defending its worlds against Dominion, he took a pretty pacifist stance. It was more about defense and more about protection than actually taking the war to the Dominion, putting the Republic on its back feet a little bit. Some people respect this play from him as more of just kind of protecting the worlds and not trying to force the conflict, but a lot of people thought that he was kind of advocating his duty a little bit, and that his caution caused the Dominion to spread so far. The new Supreme Chancellor, Ovino, definitely shares that view. He's responsible for the latest push to the Outer Rim, which allowed the Republic to get within striking distance of Vela.
Now, Caesar does not hate the Jedi, but he recognizes that may have been a very bad play from the previous chancellor, and he very much would, while reading this stuff, kind of nod and respect, like, all right, now they're taking the fight to Dominus, like trying to carve back into their territory, get back what they once lost. Good on them.
Yeah, so, and you guys would know too. So everybody would know this one. Uvino, he's been a pretty militaristic Supreme Chancellor. He fought for the Republic Army before running for his home planet Senate seat of Mancala, and then eventually winning the Supreme Chancellorship. But he has a pretty anti-overall Force user sentiment. Not just the Jedi, the Sith. He hates pretty much everybody with access to the Force and thinks the galaxy would be much better without them. Which has actually caused the Jedi Order to flee the Coruscant, or not flee Coruscant. They've left. They've taken their home temple off of Coruscant and moved to Ilum. Still supporting the war effort, but getting some distance between them and the inner workings of Coruscant.
That's a lot of distance there.
Quite a bit of distance.
Yeah. Caesar would be quite happy with gaining that information there. And that actually reminds me, Keith, did we ever agree on Caesar and dang it, names are hard.
Dash.
Thank you. Caesar and Dash being knowing each other?
I don't think we talked about it. I'm open to that.
Yeah, I'm down.
Would you have served? So Dash's background, he served in like a special force unit they call OS. So that's kind of his background in the Republic. So we could, if you're connected there or with the military, we could do that.
Caesar's definitely connected to the military and definitely is a bit of a special case.
Yeah, we could have done some operations together.
All right. Then.
Perfect. One of the questions I was going to have for you guys too. So maybe to the punch on that one. That's it. So you guys will have a little bit. We'll kind of touch on that too. Just kind of how you guys know each other offline as well before that first session. Perfect. Oh, so before we move to the next, or actually, Burger, anything else for Caesar?
Wait, there's more?
Oh, no, I was just if there's anything else you wanted to add on that side. And on that note, I'm glad you said his name first. I thought it was going to be Kazar, so I would have butchered it. So.
Well, I guess something I should mention about Caesar is he's pretty ruthless in his tactics, but gives respect to those who, well, basically he mirrors the meritocracy of the Dominion. If you earn it, if you earn respect, you have earned a position. That kind of ideal.
And that's a good point too. I didn't go into the Dominion too much. So before we go to the Dominion pieces too, just another reminder, we are doing the giveaway for the 3 months of Dropout TV. So if you're in the sub and just join, write Invasion into the chat, all lowercase. Don't spam it. I think I disabled the spam features for Nightbot, but just put it in there once, just so it doesn't get annoyed with you. But it'll put you into the running, and we'll be doing that at the end of the session, giving away those 3 months to catch out the new Starstruck campaign. But along with that, though, the Dominion, and I forgot to touch on them when we went through the galaxy. So the Dominion's not like a lot of the Sith empires you guys have seen before. They're about the dark side. They're very militantly strong, and they're definitely all about serving Darth Dominus, who is the leader of the Sith. When he took control of the Sith Lord who held him as a slave's properties, he basically named himself. He said the galaxy will have one master, and that'll be him. He's turned the Dominion into a meritocracy. So if you could do something, if you're qualified, if you can lead, if you could fight, if you can build something, you have a place in the Dominion. You've got prestige. He's not really, he's outlawed slavery. He's actually brought education and some opportunities out to the Rim. But the biggest piece with him is you have to follow. He calls the shots. While you have more educational and opportunities like that, you are beholden to the whims of Darth Dominus. So he's a little bit of an interesting Sith. He's really, even though the Republic scholars will note that he's brought up a lot of the quality of life or standard of life in the Outer Rim, but he's definitely a Sith that demands loyalty and obedience at the same time.
Caesar's got a lot of respect for the man.
All right, who's next?
Has everybody gone but me?
I think you and Fanchin.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a go. So this is 5 days before everything goes down.
Hmm.
So wrapping up with his squad near Ithor, dealing after helping out with the conflict there, kind of playing both sides. Whoever was willing to pay. Him and his team were working apart from the Mandalorians, kind of doing their work as mercenaries. After collecting their payment, they hear of the brewing conflict in Velia and start to make their way there on their ship. On the way there, it's just about getting ready, getting geared up, getting suited up, and trying to see what modifications can be made to their weapons to prepare for the coming conflict.
Perfect. Is he going to be looking for any enhanced weapons or building something new during his downtime?
I'll be honest, I'm not 100% on the rules for crafting, so I don't know what we can do at level 3.
Oh, definitely. So, what tool proficiencies do you have?
I've got arms tech, I've got armor tech, mechanics kit, and constructor's tools.
Oh, so you got some cool tools. So for weapons and armor, armors tech and armor techs, arms tech and armor tech. That was hard to say.
Yep.
With the Wretched Hive rules, and I'll post them in the Discord in a minute. You do get to know some blueprints for those, and I'm looking them up myself right now for level 3. What you get to know. Talos, do you know that offhand? I know you looked at those pretty recently.
I do. So if you are, it's a little bit different for engineers, but if you're proficient, half of your proficiency bonus, minimum of 1, I believe it is, and then if you have expertise, up to your class level, or not half of your class level. Minimum of 1, or if your expertise, up to your class level. So at minimum, you should know 3. And then at level 3 and 4, you should only know standard, up to standard enhancement types. You cannot learn premium according to those rules until level 5 or higher. But I'm pulling it up right now.
Perfect. So you can definitely look through and see if there's a standard modification either for your armor or your weapons that you would know offhand. We can do the rolls now, and you can kind of let me know in the Discord which one you would choose.
Okay, sure. That'd be a D100.
So D20 first. So let me pull up the crafting rules or certain stats you can use for that. Oh, so you'd use your tool stat. So that's kind of a cool thing with the table rules too. So you've got those tools, so you can use intelligence for those, or if you can make a case for another stat that you'd use using your armor mech or your arms tech tools. We can kind of go through that. So it's intelligence at base, but definitely if you can make a play for it, let me know and we'll consider it for a different stat.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Engineers aren't special. It's just everything that I had said. So characters proficient in a tool, they can craft all unenhanced items and up to standard level, half their level rounded up. And expertise, a number of blueprints equal to your level. So I was almost correct.
Wow, pretty damn close. I'll try with intelligence for now. Let's see where we get.
Perfect.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay,
That's solid, yeah. So 20. So roll a D100 plus what's that plus? Oh, plus 15. Okay, so 68. So you as you go through and try to craft this newest mod for your armor, your weapons, you do have a little bit of inefficiency in there. So it would cost you 1.5 times the requisite materials, and we'll figure that out offline too, how much it will cost on that side. But you do craft it; it does come out without defects on that side. Just a little bit more expensive. It took you a little longer, a little bit more resources than you'd expected for it.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Last but not least, Fachin, you're up. Oh, did we lose Fachin? You there?
I think he just posted that his computer crashed.
Yeah, he's coming back on.
Oh, perfect. So while he's going that, we'll kind of shift gears a little bit on that side. Yeah. So with those, downtime is going to be usually we'll probably do the downtime offline, but that's definitely something I want to have in the campaign. I like to see what players or what PCs are doing when they're not in the midst of all the craziness, and also give you guys some opportunities to go after some different goals or resources or whatever it may be. So that will be something that happens pretty frequently, at least once every 3 or 4 sessions. You guys will get a week or two to spend and hopefully find something fun for your PC to do that's not in the midst of combat. Perfect. Oh, looks like Fachin, you're back. Sweet. You are up. So I can't hear him. Can you guys hear him? Okay. Yeah, we can't hear you.
I can't hear him.
Still can't. Well, we'll let you figure that out. Just chime in, or even if I'm talking while you guys while you're working on that side. As we wait for that, we're going to shift a little bit and go over just some of the variant rules that we'll be employing, as well as just some of my overall table rules. So just a second, you're going to see it shift to a PDF, or the viewers will see it shift to a PDF. And also, too, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Fetzer on Instagram, and I put it in the tweets and all that too, and I'll put it on the YouTube link. Josh Fetzer, he's the guy that designed the logo for the invasion. He's got an Instagram link there. He killed it. He's got just kind of the cool, brutal feel that I was looking for with the Yuzon Vong. He was just easy to work with. It just I gave him a terrible description, and he came out with exactly what I was looking for. So it was perfect. So we're just going to kind of go through a couple of the rules and just some of the. And I provided this to the character, the PCs, a little bit ahead of time, so they could see what table rules we're using, so they'd have a good idea of that. But I thought I wanted to go through it with the viewers too, to so you guys can see what rules are coming up, how it'll play it, so when game time comes, you guys have a good idea of what to expect. So one of my favorites, and I hope it comes through well on the stream, but Crueler Crits. So it's,
How about now?
Oh, we can hear you. Sweet. Yeah.
All
so
right.
what?
I just somehow it was disabled the microphone to the headset.
No,
So
technology has a mind of its own. I did that during a work conference call this week too, so I know how it goes.
this thing overheated too. It's like 10, 12 years old. It needs some love. Okay. Do you want to just finish and then I'll?
Oh no, yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. So I was thinking, Geert, he's been on. Is it Vela or Velia?
Or Vela. Yeah.
Vela. He's been on Vela for like a week or two. He's awaiting a contact that's not come in yet, which is kind of odd, but given the state of the galaxy, maybe it's not so odd anymore. So in the meantime, he'd be keeping an eye out for what he would know are like the signs for this is a contact I'm supposed to meet kind of a thing. I haven't quite gotten into his backstory exactly, but I wanted him to have some sort of like call sign recognition thing, like a flash thunder kind of thing where he knows who this person is and they know they're supposed to interact with each other. But while he's looking for that, he's going to talk to the locals and make some friends, do some carousing with the lowlifes.
Perfect. So for carousing, or you probably have a stat picked out. What do you want to roll for carousing?
Let's see. I got to get this one loaded back in. I believe it was deception.
Yeah, you can do deception, persuasion, or
I have both. They're the same.
Oh,
So
either or.
I'll do persuasion. He's just trying to be nice. So let me pull that up here real quick. I got to remember how to do this. I was so used to Foundry, and now I'm back. Okay, persuasion. We said.
Yep, persuasion. Solid, right out the gate there. That's a roll me a D100 plus 15.
Let's see if I did this right. Oh. Oh.
That's what the 15.
Glad I got that plus 15. Oh man.
Yeah, good
I
thing.
made somebody mad.
So luckily, you didn't make anybody mad, but you've got to spend your time talking to the locals. And you see, and I'll give you a little bit of the background too with Vela. You see a lot of people preparing to leave the planet. Outside of like the Republic military, and I'm not sure if you're crossing borders too, Republic and Dominion side. You probably are. You're probably going all around. You're seeing most of the locals are trying to leave. The Republic Dominion forces, they're not really interested in new friends. They've got their squad and their allies with them. But a lot of the locals are just beat down. There's a big refugee convoy that's actually going to be leaving in a week's time too. Just a lot of the people that you're meeting just don't really want to talk to you. The Republic's ignoring you, the Dominion's ignoring you, and the Zerka people are at a bar that's a little bit too pricey for you right now.
No one's got time for an old man, do they? Never do. And then you'll come running to us for when there's trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the people in the species of Vela is mostly humans mixed in with some of the people you expect on the Outer Rim. You see some Twi'leks, a bit of Zabraks, just kind of a wide array of people who have tried to flee the core as fast as they could and wound up on Vela. Perfect. So with the table rules too, so we are using cooler crits. It's one of my favorites. I've used this for my last 2 or 3 campaigns now. But basically, anytime that you guys get a crit, whether it be a nat 20 crit or if you guys have some keen modifications too, you will basically be able to max out the first dice. So for easy numbers, if you had what would be a light foil that did 1d8 damage, you would get 8 automatically, maxing out that first die, and then you'd get the second die rolled. So if you rolled, you did the d8, then if you rolled the second d8, you'd get a +4, you'd get 12 overall, plus all your modifiers too. It's one of my favorites just because sometimes it sucks to get a crit and then roll like 2 1s or 2 2s and just not really have anything come for it. So I like rolling this. I run it for my Star Wars campaign as well as my homebrew D&D one. It's just a fun one to go with. One of the differences, though, for at least Keith and Berger to keep an eye on, this time I am using it for the enemies too. So I didn't use it for the enemies in Hunted, but I will be using it for the enemies in Invasion. So they will have that same rule. So if they do roll a crit, expect them to max out that first dice and get some damage on there.
All I'm saying is there's a very good chance if they crit Caesar, I'm gonna get one shot.
Don't worry, I got you. Don't worry, I got you.
Thank you.
Start warming up. It's I got you.
Dude,
Dude, I was trying to figure out the word. I was like, I've got it. It's there. I'm the scientist here. You don't tell me. Yeah.
Oh, what do I know? I just know shooty. That's it.
Exactly.
So that's what I wanted to do, especially with the Vong. They're just brutal. I thought this would be kind of a good way for some of that brutality to get in there and make it pretty fair. So it depends on the day. Sometimes I have really good dice luck. Sometimes I don't. So you guys have to keep an eye on that. At least as a DM, I have decent dice luck sometimes. As a player, it's usually pretty rough, but sometimes as a DM, it can go crazy.
I will never forget the day we went up against that hut, man. It just one after another.
That hut dropped in just nat 20s where Noru almost got strangled. And then one we didn't stream when I ran a one shot for the Kazuya crew. There's this one CR2, this lowly henchman who should have been dealt with in like a couple of turns. He lasted like 5 turns and knocked out 3 people just by himself. Like just by himself.
Yeah.
Who
Goes
knows?
out
He
fighting.
might- he may have gone decapitated, but we might see him here. Make a Hitler style.
Cyborg.
What was the pet's name
It's always
when we fought that hut?
I was just thinking of, was it Jeremy or Jerry?
It was
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Jeremy,
It was Jeremy.
we made a Pearl Jam joke about that. I love that.
I was literally just thinking about that. I forgot what made me think of it, but I couldn't remember what the name was. Yeah, that was a fun, chaotic fight. Speaking of crits, I'm glad I put these right next to each other too. One of the other things we're doing with crits, and I wanted to do this for Hunted, but I think I always forgot to run it. So people are going to have to hold me to this one when people crit, remind me. We're doing dismemberment for this one too. So I modified the rules a little bit for dismemberment compared to what they are base. So with this, if you roll a nat 20, it has to be a true nat 20. Keen won't affect dismemberment. So if you have like a 19 to crit, the 19 won't count. But if you get a true nat 20, it's going to be a roll off between you and whoever you're going against, and vice versa too. So as the attacker, you roll a d20 with disadvantage. The defender rolls a d20 with advantage. And if the attacker wins the roll off, you get to lop something off by rolling on the dismemberment table. So they have all the way from hands, which is classic Star Wars, up to head, which can get real pretty quick. So this is another one I am using for the enemies too. So luckily with the distribution on that side, the defender definitely has a stronger chance of not getting anything chopped off, but still a possibility if the force or fate decides it.
Do you have anything for reattaching heads?
I do, in fact, have proficiency in those biotech tools. So you lose a hand, just come to me. I've got you.
Got it.
So
You lose a head. I'm not sure I can do anything there.
Head would be pretty tricky.
Actually,
Yeah, unless you guys are near Vader's little restoration center on Coruscant, I don't know how that's going to go for you. So that's what guys hope. I forget this. I've wanted to use this for Hunted, but I don't think I ever actually remember to call it out. So if you guys roll that 20, call it out, and I'll try to remember it for the Vong and see if we can get some cool decapitation stuff going on too.
I'll help you remember for the Vong.
All right, so that's one of my favorites.
Someone's going to die from decapitation, and Burger's going to be to blame.
Knowing my luck with Burger, it's going to be Burger. I'm going to feel bad.
Yeah, no, I don't know when you started saying that. I just instantly got that dread feel like, oh, it's going to be me. First combat, first roll.
That would be terrible. I feel bad, but I can see it happening because in both the Hunted game and my D&D Kazuya game, you always get hit by like the status effects, the crazy stuff, and just get like stunned for far longer than I would have expected.
Man.
So here's a question on that. So let's say like there's a time for RP wise where you feel it necessary to like poke someone and hurt them with something that could actually dismember if done properly. Is there a way you can choose not to try to dismember someone?
Oh yeah, for sure. So there's definitely non-lethal combat. So for blasters, you've got the stun setting.
Yeah.
It wouldn't apply to blasters anyway, but for lightsabers and vibro weapons, you could definitely say you're going non-lethal and not.
Because I wouldn't want to like poke somebody with a stick and then have it just like, oh no.
Just go full Walking Dead and knock that off.
Yeah. Time to run.
So definitely no worries on that side. It'll be you're going at it. You're doing this intentionally. The only time where it may be unintentional or intentionally unintentional, which the Vong don't really have any abilities for this. But if for some reason you pissed off the Sith that are in a fight and they use some mind control whammy on you, and you've got to attack one of the other party, and you get a nat 20, that would have to play out the regular way. So this is a fun one. I've wanted to use it for a while, but I always forget to use it. So definitely want to make sure we use it for this one. Tactical initiative. This is another cool one, especially for like teamwork and some crazy combos. Basically, you can tie your initiative to somebody else's in the parties, or even tie the whole parties together. Basically, the rule is everybody rolls initiative. But if you tied yourself to somebody, you take the lowest amount. So if somebody rolled a 20 and somebody rolled a 10, you both would go on initiative 10, or initiative 10 plus the lowest person's dex. So you guys would both go on that side. So basically allows for some cool combos, allows for some fun tactical pieces as you're going through combat. I'll be using this occasionally for different monsters and Vong as they go through, but it opens up some options, some fun plays if you guys coordinated on that side. So entirely up to you all. You can kind of decide who, or if you want to have everybody coordinate battle to battle, it doesn't have to be locked in for the whole time. But just something fun. I saw this variant, always liked it. So just have that option available anytime you'd like to make use of it.
I plan on using that in every single combat encounter.
As a scholar, that makes sense.
Yeah, Caesar is built for that.
So definitely what I encourage. So that one's a cool one. And also too, these are all of these so far have been variant rules on SW5E. If you go to the variant section, you can check these out. The next one, though, is one I've taken from the Storm Chaser system. But before we go into that, just seeing some people join. Another reminder, we are giving away 3 months of Dropout TV to watch the new Starstruck campaign. If you get a second, write Invasion into the chat, all lowercase, and then don't spam it because the bot's being weird, but just put Invasion lowercase, and the Nightbot will capture you in there. And at the end of the session, we'll be able to roll for to see who comes away with those first 3 months. All right. That's what I was talking about, the standing from prone room. This is one of my favorites. Took this from Storm Chaser. If you ever want to have some fun ways to get some SW5E elements into standard D&D, Google this. They've got 2 systems, the Legacy system and the new Storm Chaser system. Check out both are great, but I use the Legacy system, the older one. And it inputs a lot of like he's Storm Chaser is on the Star Wars 5e Council. And he inputs like a lot of the fighting styles and different bonuses you can get from Star Wars 5e into regular D&D, and it's a blast. So it's what I use for my regular Kazuya campaign. But one of his homebrew rules, I'm not sure if he took it from somebody else or if he created it himself, but I love it, is standing from prone. Because prone is one of those cool conditions where you can get advantage on the attack, but it seems like it's kind of crazy. You can just pop right back up in the middle of the fight with people surrounding you with nothing happening. So with this rule, we changed that up a little bit. So if you're knocked prone, you're going to either make a dexterity, acrobatics, or a strength athletics check. And with that, it's going to be a DC 10 plus 2 for each enemy that's surrounding you. So if you've got surrounded by 4 people, that would be a DC 18 that you need to make to be able to stand up without taking an opportunity attack. If you do fail that, they will all be able to take opportunity attacks, or everybody that's around you that has a reaction left will be able to take an opportunity attack, and will be able to, and if they hit by 10 or more, you actually beat your AC by 10 or more, I should say, you will remain prone. So it's not likely that you will remain prone unless like they just crit and just slam it. But otherwise, you should be able to, you will take some damage if you fail that. The nice thing though is it's split between athletics as well as acrobatics. So everybody has hopefully a decent chance of being able to make it to their feet. Okay. So I will ask you guys on that side. Do you guys have any questions on that side? It's a little bit of a different rule, but it's really one of my favorites.
I mean, it makes sense. You know, it's like, oh, hey, I'm on the ground, and just here I am. Oh, yeah, 100%. Like that's a good mechanic, I think.
And
I like all the tactical and hardcore nature of this so far. It really really causes PCs to think about their actions before they just do it, thinking that there's going to be no consequences, or I can just
Yeah.
move into this group of enemies and I'll be okay. So
or
that
like
gives you an extra layer to think about. Yeah.
And if somebody wants to cheese it by like being prone so they don't get so there's disadvantage on range attacks on them, one melee character
Yeah.
can just close in and be like, "You idiot," and go to town on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I do like this trying to stand up, and then if you somehow fail, they just beat you down to the ground.
They just nope.
Great visuals.
That's it. It's one of my-
How likely would it be that you get surrounded by 8 other things, though? Like, is there a high likelihood?
Oh, I don't know. What just happened.
I knew I wasn't getting an actual answer, but I just wanted to see your face.
It depends on our luck, I guess.
Well, I guess you just gave him a good idea, right?
And Tegan,
Yeah.
our luck and Tegan's malice. That's what it depends on right there.
There it is.
It's gonna be tough. I know that.
Just question, like mechanic wise. So, if a friendly character is nearby, can they help to give you advantage on standing up? Can they actually use the help action?
Definitely.
Okay, perfect.
So if
And
you use the
then-
help action, honestly, if you use the help action, I can say you can pull them up if you use your full action. Just bring them to their feet.
I have a question about that.
Okay. Definitely.
I have my help action's tied to my bonus action. That has the range of 30 feet.
Okay, so we'll say for the prone condition, they've got to be within 5 feet. Actually, sorry, we'll have to say for the prone condition, you have to be within 5 feet. But you could definitely pull somebody up on your bonus action.
Just yelling, "Get up!"
just start shooting at the ground nearby them. That's motivation.
That's,
Oh.
um,
So definitely on that. So that's it's really like I've used it for my Kazuya game, and it's just I think it adds another layer to it, and especially for two of you guys fighters. I know one of you for sure. Vars, I know for sure has trip. I didn't check for dash, but it applies to you guys too. So if you knock somebody down and surround them, they've got to make that same check to see if they can stand back up.
Well,
That
I'll
just
be getting
sounds
tripped next
brutal.
level.
Just blam. Oh, you're on the feet. All right, guys, let's
Yeah.
ruin them.
I kind of think of that scene from Office Space where they're just jumping the printer.
On the printer, yeah, 100%.
So definitely one of my favorites there. I think this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time I read it for Star Wars, but I used it for my old one. Overlapping features. You guys everybody's already built their sheets. I haven't looked them over yet, but this one is basically if you get proficiency in something from both your class and species, you get a +1 to it. So like if you, what's a good example? Like if you got proficiency in light foils from your class and your species, you get to add a +1 to your damage. To your damage, I think, from to the light foil attack. It's same thing for other things too. It's kind of a cool way to recognize where you get something that overlaps on that side. You get to bump it up. It can't be stacked or anything like that, so you can't just like multi-class a ton of classes and try to get a +5 or something like that. But it's kind of a fun way to recognize that you're just especially trained in this regard. The other one, exertion. This is a cool one that I like too. So this is like, say if you fail a skill check, saving throw, or I don't think I can't remember if it's saving throws. Now, skill check or attack roll, or if you need a little bit of extra speed, you can roll your hit dice. And then your hit dice will be added on to your attack roll, that skill check. It can potentially push you over the top. The downside, though, is you lose however much HP you roll on your hit die. So for some of you bigger hit die classes like the fighters, it can be great. You get a D10 on it, but if you roll a 10, you lose 10 HP, and hopefully whatever you're doing succeeds.
Did we have that in Hunted?
We didn't have that in Hunted, I don't think. We because the Burger plays my D&D campaign too. We have it in the D&D campaign, but I don't think anybody's made use of it there.
Oh, I see.
So just kind of a fun one there. Gives you a little bit of extra kind of meat to it. The other big rule that we'll go into is the wounds rule, and I modified this a little bit from the base. So with wounds, if you go down, because one of the things I hate with regular D&D or even regular SW5E is if you can play that yo-yo game with a little bit of healing, getting you back up after falling unconscious a couple times, which is why the wounds variant is one of my favorites. So if you do fall unconscious, you do at the start when you fall unconscious, you make a Constitution saving throw. Now that's the first time you've fallen unconscious. That fight, you have to make a beat a DC 10. But each time you fall unconscious, that increases by 5. So if you fail once, 10, twice, 15, and so on. And if you fail that initial Constitution check, you have a wound. And that wound automatically equals a failed death save. With these two, I modified the rules just a little bit. Before, it could be if you get your HP up to maximum, the wound goes away. But I changed it just a little bit so it goes away on a short or long rest, just to kind of simulate you really patching up whatever wound you took there and kind of getting everything fixed up before the next big showdown. Oh, and speaking of that, too, this is like a table rule, but short rest are your guys to call. So if you guys want to take a short rest, I will say, hey, take a short rest. If you want to take a short rest, let me know. We can take a short rest. Kind of depend on where you're at and what's going on and all that. Kind of if you can get undisturbed through the short rest. But those are your function on that side. So if you guys are beat up, need some features back, let me know if you're short resting. You can start rolling some hit die.
I think we had mentioned it before in Discord. We are definitely the short rest party.
Yeah.
15 minutes. Get back in it. We'll be all right.
Like 80% short rest.
Well, not of everything, guys. Short rest, short rest.
So you guys be able to get some damage on that side. The other ones are pretty. Oh, actually, there's one that I'll go into a little bit more in, or two I'll go into a little more in. ASI plus feet. I had to remind myself this is a variant for SW5E. It seems like it should just be the norm for SW. Basically, every level 4, 8, 12, the ASI levels, you get to get +1 ASI and then a feat of your choice. So you can choose to pick that up, so you could pick up something that gives you another +1 and bump a score, or pick up another fighting style or mastery or whatever you want to increase it. So your choice on that side, but I love giving you the option just to get a little extra layer of strategy on that side, really make sure you're building the PC out the way you'd want to. Bonus proficiencies. So this is another one I like too. So unless you picked like armor or a weapon for your proficiencies, which I allowed for this time, this gives you 1 point per your proficiency bonus. You start off with 2 that you can pick, and I forgot the point totals or what point cost for everything, but I think a skill is 1 point, or a tool is 1 point, or something like that. I'm not looking at it right now, but skills have a low cost, and you can go through and say, hey, I'm proficient in this. So for armor and weapons, you can kind of pick that out ahead of time. But for any skills or things like that, or languages or whatever it may be, you guys have those to spend. So you guys have 2 right now. And I'd love if you guys picked it during the session. So like if you were speaking to a hut, you guys didn't know Huttese, and he's just blabbering away at you. What are you going, hey, I spent a summer working with the Huts. I know how to speak the language. You mark off that proficiency bonus, and now you know Huttese. So cool thing, you can use it in game just with a cool RP story about how you picked it up or kind of what happened on that side. So that's another one's a little bit different. Do you guys have any questions on that side?
Do they have to be used exclusively in session? Because I've got a use case or two that I'd want to use at least one for skills.
So it doesn't have to be exclusively, but definitely if you do, I'd love to have some come up in session. So definitely if you do come up in one later, yeah, but it doesn't have to.
I'm not gonna get greedy. No worries.
They are permanent, right?
They are, yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And you get I should mention this too. When you turn level 5 and get that proficiency bonus to +3, you get another one that you can spend too.
Cool. All right. It's on the variant rule page for the rule itself, right?
It is. And if you guys
Cost
go
and everything.
to the PowerPoint document that I gave you, it has a hyperlink in there. You can just click it and it'll go right there.
I'm probably going to spend mine exclusively on languages.
Definitely fits a scholar. It definitely fits Kazar too. Or Caesar. Yeah, Caesar. I had it in my head that it was Kazar for weeks.
You're not alone.
Just
Yeah. Too much Fallout New Vegas, man.
That's what I was thinking of too. Yeah.
All hell Kaiser. They call him Caesar too. They call him everything. And anyway.
So definitely that fits on that side. So that's just what I came across in like skill adventures. Burger and Keith, you guys are familiar with this. And Pachi, that you've watched enough of the Hunted Threads. I love these. They're one of my favorite 5e inventions. I'm a huge Colville fan. So basically, these will be certain adventures or certain segments of an adventure that I want to have a little bit more of a cinematic feel versus a straight by the book feel. So high level overview of them. There'll be a scenario. You'll have a certain amount of successes needed to progress and a certain amount of failures before the worst state happens. So like for Hunted, one of the things we did, they were I think the last session where they were storming the battlefield, trying to make their way to the shield generator to reach one of the wounds in the force. So with those, you can kind of go through and decide which of your skills, abilities, force powers, whatever it may be, that you think could be useful. And this is one of the times to super like get creative and like even push the bounds of exactly what a power can do or a skill can do. The more creative you get, the more I enjoy it, to be honest. So even if it's not like this is one of the ones you don't have to worry about the range of a power, the technical details of the power. Go crazy with it. It's still going to require a roll. So like let's say if you wanted to what's a good one? If you're storming the battlefield, you want to give an inspired speech, get your people ready and moving. You could do a persuasion check, and we'd roll that. Each of the skill adventures has a DC that I said. I usually don't tell what the DC is, and then you guys roll it. And if you beat the DC, you get a success. If you fail the DC, you have a failure. And usually I have something that happens with each failure too. So sometimes it could be taking damage. Sometimes it could be the objectives get harder. Something usually happens, and I usually tell you exactly what happens right afterwards. But it kind of goes along those sides. The other thing with those skill adventures too is you can't use the same thing on the same round. So if somebody wanted to use a perception skill, you couldn't use perception for somebody else. So those are one of my favorites. For those two, I encourage you to kind of describe what your PC is doing first. So like if you were giving that inspiring speech, kind of give that inspiring speech. And then like I'll tell you, say roll persuade. I'll tell you what to roll. So kind of just give that a little bit of immersive feel on that side. But these are really one of my favorites. I'm a huge Colville fan. If you guys haven't checked out his skill adventure videos, he goes super in depth in it. And it's been one of my favorite things I've come across. It just helps for some of those things where you don't want to do a battle, you don't want to do like a kind of a regular scene. It can just really get some cool cinematic feel to it. Perfect. So I will pause there on that side. Any questions you guys have so far for the skill adventures? I know those are a little bit different than normal.
They kind of did something similar in Saga Edition.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like those.
One of my favorites. I use them at least one in an adventure. So one every couple sessions, probably for sure. Sometimes more.
It's the best thing to come out of 4E.
It is kind of the best thing to come out of 4E. So definitely one of my favorites there. And we'll be using one probably by the second session for sure, depending on how everything plays out. So you guys will get a feel for it pretty early on too. Mm-hmm. Sweet. So that's the last. Multi-classing extra attack. So this one I wanted to give some cool options for multi-classing or for extra attack. So I used this first time actually in Keith's campaign, and I thought it was really cool. And So usually with multi-classing, if you're a martial class or somebody that gets extra attack, it delays your extra attack. With this variant rule, you can multi-class as long as you multi-class into somebody else or another class that gets extra attack, you'll still proceed as normal. So if you wanted one of the fighters wanted to pick up a couple of levels of Barbarian or wanted to pick up the Force and pick up Sentinel or Guardian, you guys would still hit level 5 and get your extra attack. So I know this is going to give a little bit more credits to broken builds and some crazy stuff you guys can go for. I am prepared for that. So have fun with it. This is one of those ones that I think we did in the podcast, and I think I maybe been a little harsh on it in the podcast, but I played it with Keith. It was fun, and it's going to get some cool build options. I love seeing crazy builds, so go for it.
I will remember this for my backup character.
Well, I think your character still gets extra attack, doesn't it?
No, I get 2 reactions.
Oh, I thought the tactical got extra attack too. Okay.
If I had the Sentinel fighting style, that technically do the extra attack.
That's exactly where my head went.
I did take up the what was it called again? Formation fighting style though.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't the tactical guy get to use his reaction to make an attack? Or is that like higher level, like level 6 maybe?
I thought they get something like that.
Yeah, I think like if someone targets your critical analysis target, I think you just get to make a free attack for a reaction, but that might be a level 6.
Oh yeah, no, that is level 6. I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I read that, I did not comprehend what it said. Once per round, yeah, when a creature that is the target of your critical analysis feature is attacked by someone other than you can use your reaction to make 1 weapon attack against them. Nice.
Hooray for dog piles.
Well, if Caesar dies, which he won't, I won't allow it.
Thank you.
His twin brother, Khazar.
So what about it's a new one? This said before I was a little critical of it, but I like it. Just kind of get some fun build variety, and especially there's gonna be some pretty crazy combats for this one too. So just get some cool stuff you can do with it. I love seeing like interesting builds. So go nuts with it, guys.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Otherwise, it's kind of hard because you really want to get your extra attack, but you really need at least 2 levels in a class. So you're talking level 7 before your character comes online.
Yeah, it's so long I have to wait. Oh, and I should have mentioned that too. I meant to mention that before. So we're starting at level 3 for this campaign. I get annoyed with tier 3 and 4, so we're going to go to about 10, 11-ish with regular campaign. So kind of spread throughout there, probably leveling every so often. So we get the first 2 levels will be quick. You get to level 5 probably the first 4 to 5 sessions. After that, it'll slow down a little bit. Level 6 and 7 are my favorite to run, so you guys will probably spend quite a bit of time at level 6 and 7, and the slower climb up to 10 or 11. But one thing I like to do for my campaigns, because I love seeing interesting builds, and everybody wants to see their character all the way realized, is the last arc is level 20. So there's usually about 2 to 3 sessions, level 20. It's fun to run for a bit. Level 20 is taxing, so 2 to 3 sessions, and then we wrap it up. But you will be able to get that full just Force Unleashed class for your build going.
Man, I would not have been able to say in any other game I've ran a Force Healing Rancor and Downtime Monk.
That was crazy on that side. I miss Kirk.
Kirk was great.
So, yeah, so level.
I also saw something in here which I think is very understandable. Of if you have a companion class, if you want them to keep scaling, you gotta keep in the companion class levels.
That's right. That's what the character creation mechanics. Because one of those, I hadn't read it super in depth since they did the new companion rules, and that used to be a rule, and I thought it was still a rule. And I was gonna, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, Burger, but I was reading through your character sheet for the new PC and Kirk, and I was like, oh, you leveled this wrong. But then I read the rules before I went back to like, oh yeah, All right, that's the new rule. So you already built your sheets. I didn't want to make you change anything. That was on me for not reading the rules. But for this one, companion classes are definitely, available. But you do have to level them to level the companion.
Very understandable. Companions are both very terrifying in what they can accomplish, and at the same time, what was her name? The Jedi Padawan we took on.
Oh, Elias, yeah.
Yeah, Elias. Or in Elias' case, basically a meat shield.
She healed you guys quite a few times.
That is true.
So that is one of the other differences. The only feat too that I do ban is Companion Keeper. Definitely could be a good fit for some games, but it's one of the ones I do feel is just slightly overtuned. So I do ban that one. Everything else, fair game. I don't really. There's a lot of fun options, so pick which fits your PC best, flavor wise, mechanic wise. Either way works for me.
I will not lie. I have seen someone before take up a companion class and then companion keeper, and then be allowed companion keeper as also a starting feat.
Oh, that's much. That's much.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun if you were like if there was some RP to it, like you're just like the that one Sith Lord who was the mechno techno whatever. So like he had thralls kind of a thing where you could have your thralls go out, like the necromancer type. Or is that the necromancer wizard from D&D? Where they have like control of
They do, I think so.
certain things? Yeah. Something like that would be kind of fun. But that would be hell on the DM.
Yeah. Like if you really want to go for that,
Could be
pick
hell
like
on
the
us for
console
encounters.
class.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah. Be fun.
Roll initiative, and then I'll roll initiative. Oh wait, let me roll my other initiative.
Yeah. Roll it 4 times and take the lowest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a pain. So that's the only feat I ban. Otherwise, I love fun builds. Go crazy with it. As long as I said, I want to have a 60-40 split between the RP and the combat. So bring some cool RP with your character, but optimize it. I'm an optimizer myself. I'm not going to have any hurt feelings optimizing. So go for it.
And here I was actively trying to not metagame. Oh boy.
Well, I mean, if your guy has a niche thing that he does, you can optimize it towards that thing. Whether or not it's actually, useful for whatever Tegan throws at us is a different matter entirely. But
And to be really good at that, be a really good one-trick pony.
Exactly. Really good at running away.
How many people here are melee? That's something very important. How many people here are melee?
Garrett's he's got some ranged, but I think melee is probably the main thing he would use.
So that's
that or some other force power.
Vars can fight in melee.
Oh no.
Are you the only melee dedicated?
Caesar's all about getting the melee lands up in front as fast as possible.
All right. I kind of had it in mind. I made my my signature thing goading attack. So if your melee is your thing, I'll just pop off a shot and you can run at me or you can have disadvantage, up to you, kind of a thing.
I have a 0 modifier in Constitution. I am capable of melee, but it is.
That's cool. Just
less.
Just
Yeah.
It's fine.
We'll just be a big old 5-in squad.
Yeah, you don't want any wounds, man. That's cool.
Keith, do you remember what's his name? The name of the PC I killed twice in one campaign. It was Flint's PC.
Oh, the -1 Constitution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because he came into that campaign late and he was very excited about his character, and he died on the first attack of the first encounter. And he just go down. He just straight up died.
All right, welcome to the table.
Wasn't that directly after the fact he got the Constitution necklace though?
That was actually
the Batman necklace, yeah.
That was 8 or 9 sessions later. He died another time in between.
Oh,
it felt so bad for him. You let the monk restore him.
Yeah, it was like the first he built this guy out first session, and I just did not realize You ran right. They're fighting pretty much an ATST walker. It stomped on him. He was down for the count. He rolled really well on damage, and he went down.
Again, I don't know if I've got a -1 Constitution and I see like a giant old construct like that, I'm running the other way.
And he was a force blade too, and this is the level where you can do all the teleportation shenanigans. So that's what I thought he was going to do.
Yeah!
Is just kind of teleport around. But yeah,
And not on the ATST's boot.
that was one of the few times I've killed a PC. It felt like really bad. I'm like, I can't kill you on the first attack of the first day. This is back when we played in person too in my old game store. So he brought his character and all that. I'm like, oh, all right.
You're his RPG horror story, man. This DM killed me in the first round, first turn, first roll.
And then he died another time too. But this is before I can't remember if they changed. Oh, this is another table rule I should mention. I think they changed it, but I haven't looked it up. Back to tanks for ships. It used to be 24 hours. You could bring somebody if they were dead and bring them back. I think they changed it because I complained on the server for a while to change it to an hour. I'm pretty sure they did, but if not, it's an hour. So if you bring somebody if you have a med center on the ship and you bring somebody to the back to tank within an hour, they can be brought back as long as they're not decapitated.
That little discrepancy. Oh, sorry.
When I was creating the ship, and I know that we're still moving in that direction to talk about it, I didn't see anything for a back to tank aside from large ships being the prerequisite for it. So I think for the medium ship, a med bay could only give us, I think it was 2 med beds or bio beds or something like that. So I have no idea what those are exactly for, except for laying in.
I haven't read the med center rules since they've changed it over, and I think that was one of the things they changed, because before it used to give you a back to tank even for a medium ship in 24 hours it could bring it back, which I was like, that's a little much. But that PC got to go brought back that last time he died from the back to tank. So
poor Caesar.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Just discrepancy on as long as you're not decapitated. Really, I don't know. Just put the fear guy in me. It's just like, oh, so
get a med bay and just be like, shh, everything's okay. And he like looks around and he sees nothing but like a bunch of prosthetic legs and arms and hands just hanging everywhere. Eyeballs just like on the walls, like various different ones. Do you want blue eyes or red eyes? Or yellow or green?
So those bio beds, it says that for every hour spent in a back to tank or bio bed, a creature's exhaustion level is reduced by 1, and it can roll a hit die to recover hit points without expending the die. And then there's a little blurb about back to tank reviving dead less than an hour.
Was that under modifications?
Yeah, that's under the modification, just itself, the med bay. Shows the small gets 1, medium gets 2, blah, blah, blah.
So we might want to steal a bigger
clicking it and reading it actually works.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sweet. So luckily they've changed it on that side, so that's in line there. But those are my overall table rules. One, I always forget this is not a real rule, but my DM made it a real rule, and I liked it, and I always thought it was a real rule. To help somebody in a skill check, you have to be proficient. So if you want to help somebody with technology tech, you have to be proficient technology to help them. I literally thought this was a rule for years and years until somebody said it wasn't. I'm like, no, this is a rule. I looked it up and found out I was wrong. So I like it. I keep it in there, but it's a little bit of a house rule.
Oh, I didn't actually realize that's a house rule.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the way I get. It seems like it should be. It seems like it makes sense.
Does the actual rule say to like consult with the DM or something like that? And this just ends up being what most DMs say. Like, do you have it? No. Then you
it could be. But I remember just losing that argument because I was really confident. And I'm like, no, this is a rule. This is
like for certain things that make sense. Like, all right, well, let's kick down this door. I mean, you got a foot, you got leverage.
Oh yeah, things like that. Yeah.
All right, let's hack this computer. I grew up in the woods. I've never seen a computer. Like,
I need your tiny hands to help me with this. Mine are large and furry. Please,
Yeah.
hands in there and twirl it.
Yeah,
makes
it's one of
sense.
those ones, like, especially for doing work like just minor IT work for my family. Having them hovering over your shoulder trying to help will make it harder. Oh, so
Man,
that's the
I
only
come
other
to this
big thing.
table to get away from IT work, man. Don't let you guys don't say that.
So you're the
But,
slicer, right? You're the guy that's doing all the slicing.
Oh no. I shoot good. That's it.
I slice.
Attaboy.
Although I don't actually have the kit because starting credits were a little low. Happens. We'll find one. I'll steal one because that's what he does.
There you go, man. Battlefield acquisitions, whatever. Plenty of stuff laying around.
You want to know one of the dumbest racial features I've ever come across?
Shoot.
Which one?
There's increased starting wealth on HUD, and there's another race. I think there's one or two more who also has that, but
Is it
I don't-
Nemoidians?
In the
I
movie,
think that might be it.
Yeah, or the
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the mercantile. Yeah.
The increased starting credits get really, really stupid crazy
It's
the
obscene.
higher level you start.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Man, one time I played the HUD and I was able to afford the jetpack.
I
I still have
forgot
a lot
about
left over.
that.
that's a
Hey, you
very
gotta get
strong
around
jetpack.
somehow.
Jeez. I can just imagine those little engines like sputtering, trying their hardest.
Seeing a HUD in a jetpack is just.
How would you even wear it? Like, where does it strap to?
Yeah,
I don't
have
know.
you ever played Mega Man, like the number 2 for the NES? How they have that like dragon where it's got the little like segments on its back. You'd have something like that for the hut or something, so it wraps around its tail, so it can like use the tail to
Oh
like,
gosh.
guide where it
The
goes.
steer.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be funny, like a flying booger almost, just float through the air.
I would definitely want campaign art for that.
Oh yeah, I totally would. I'd commission that.
So
That'd be some of
that's
the
all the
weirdest
table.
commission.
That's all the table rules. I think I covered everything that I usually use for how I run stuff. But yeah, usually I'm pretty chill with most rules and love good flavor with everything too, if possible. Backstory stuff, not going to touch on everything, but I do want to explain the 5 rumors piece. This is something I forgot where. I think I saw on Reddit or something, but it's one of the things I came across and I loved it. So the rumors are, some of you guys have already submitted the rumors for your PC. It's got good, bad, lies that are spread around the galaxy about your PC and things you've done. So for the crew, and I'm going to post this into Roll20 once I have everybody's backstories in there. I'm going to pick out select ones from everybody's 5 and put it in a group one, and that's what everybody's going to already know about each other before, just some rumors and things they've heard come across about the other PCs. So it could be one of the good, one of the bad, one of the lies. It's going to be a mix and match of what I think will be entertaining. So you guys will get to know that.
Do you want us? Do you want us to leave out like identifying things from those rumors then?
Oh
like,
no!
Or is it just okay?
It'll be tied to you. So, and that's one thing I should mention too. So, your PCs, you're still level 3, but you've got a little bit of reputation in the galaxy. You're not like you're not anybody's go-to guy or storming places on your own, but you definitely are a little known in the galaxy, and just enough for some rumors for those who pay attention. And you guys are people that should or would pay attention. May have come across it. And with those rumors too, so the ones that don't get used or don't get displayed to the party, other NPCs will use as it comes up and kind of as it fits too. So I've never used this one before, but I loved it when I came across it. That's kind of a cool way to help with that intro session and also have some fun stuff for NPCs to kind of gravitate towards in reference to the party.
Okay. I've got some like pretty specific lore questions when it comes to the Republic's occupation of Mandalore, its eventual like liberation, and then Mandalore. I am blanking on the
Mandalore the Enlightened. I believe.
Exalted.
Exalted. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And like what and how that all came about, because those are some last details that I want to pepper in, like because I'm going to have my character be from Mandalore, so I kind of want to have him be there for the Republic's occupation, then the liberation, and then the aftermath, and then be there when he eventually turns on Dominus.
Perfect.
That's what
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I got in my head. I just want to figure out the timeline, see how old he's going to be.
Definitely, and I'll post a timeline too this week too, so you guys can see where everything happens too. Because I know, and we're not going through this on the stream, but I did give everybody some lore docs for each of the factions that have different things that took place. So I will put a timeline out this week, and I'll post a timeline for everybody, for even the fans to see too. But in regards to those lore questions, so the Republic's controlled Mandalore for probably close to 1,000 years at this point, since the last big kind of uprising. They've been part of the Republic, somewhat controlled, but Cassius partnered with Dominus as he started to grow in the Outer Rims, and was kind of his right-hand man for years as he was building the Dominion. But as soon as he was able to kind of chorus his own fleet, or convinced Dominus to take Mandalore and then get a fleet under him, he put all of his Mandalorians, his loyal soldiers, and those in the fleet who would answer to him before Dominus, and stormed Mandalore, kicking the Republic off and claiming it as his own, and claiming his independence too from the Dominion, breaking off, saying that Mandalore will be for the Mandalorians and that they answer to no one.
I dig it. Okay. Ooh, 1,000 years.
It's been on the Republic boot for quite some time. Pretty much since it may be longer than 1,000, but pretty much since the SWTOR games, it's been kind of under that boot.
Okay, all right. That gives me a lot to work with. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. Sweet. So you guys have already gone through the other ones. I just wanted to hit the 5 rumors. That's one of my favorite new things I've come across. Perfect. So one last plug for Invasion. We're getting closer to the end. So if anybody's joined recently, type Invasion into the chat, all lowercase. It'll get you in for the giveaway. It will be getting close to that pretty soon. Actually, pretty close to that. So Starship stuff. Everybody's picked their deployment, I believe. We will be using Starship rules. The new system, I think, is definitely quite a bit more fun to run and a little bit easier too. So we will be using those. We've already mapped out deployments. I'm expecting by about session 3 or so, we'll get to break them in for that first time, and you guys will get to jump out in the stars and use the ship quite a bit. So that's definitely coming. So keep an eye on that. There will be chances too, as you guys go along, to improve the tier of your ship, get modifications, probably as different rewards for different missions too. So that's coming. And the last big thing I want to cover before we wrap up is just one of the pieces of this campaign style. At Burger, you'll be pretty familiar with this because I'm going to handle it pretty similar to the way I handle Kazuya. So this is going to be a pretty player-driven campaign for missions and going after kind of the items you guys want to go after and tackle. So one of the things we're going to do is at the end of sessions where you guys complete an arc or complete a mission, I will have kind of different options or different things going on in the galaxy at that time. So it could be Yuzon Vong are invading Mandalore. Could be one of the things. The Mandalorians are requesting assistance, or the Republic, something's going on in the Senate. They're voting on some act that could help the war effort. Just different things that are going on. The group will be able to come together and decide, hey, this is what we want to tackle. So it'll be you guys kind of deciding what missions you guys go on. The first 3 sessions are a little bit more railroaded just due to kind of being the intro sessions, but after that, it's up to you guys to go after where you see the most value, where you think would be most interesting to play. It's all up to you. The nice thing too, especially with all the different factions in the galaxy and different things going on, things will react as you guys make your decisions. So if you decide not to go after something, it'll play out without you guys, and it will have impacts on the game going down the line and what's going on in the world. So I did this a little bit with Hunted, but Hunted was just by the nature of the campaign a little bit more railroaded. But I do this all the time with Kazuya, and it's one of my favorite things from Kazuya. And Kazuya's my D&D campaign, I should mention. And I know, Burger, you've gotten some first-hand experience with that piece.
I gotta say, it is quite excellent. It's got. I'm very excited.
I think it's going to be very interesting considering where most of us are from very different factions with very different priorities. So Vars might give a care a lot about Mandalore, but the two from the Republic aren't going to care, and Zerka wants the profits, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be some fun tug of war.
And that's something I'm really looking forward to, too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be cool. And it's kind of see that intergroup conflict about where to go next. Quick story from my Kazuya game with Burger. Actually, one of his PCs got captured, not killed this time, and he wasn't the most popular PC. The group had a big decision about whether or not they're going to go rescue him or go against one of the objectives. So everybody got to put their viewpoint out there. He did have some information that could help him, and it was a fun RP session for kind of if we want to go after him.
Gosh,
We're not out of it yet. They can still decide to kill a Kavan. He's definitely not.
Gosh.
He's currently arguing with the person who most wants to kill him.
It just
Not out
sounds
of
like a whole lot of we have to save him. Do we?
Now, it was
Really?
Listen, he has some value to him. First round of combat, immediately he goes to run, hide, and cry.
What a hero.
He's there to make the party feel better about themselves, obviously. It's like, well, at least I'm not crying. There you go. Okay.
So that's one of the things I love. So I really try to have that open world feel and just kind of go after what you guys want to go after. So each time, and I'm going to do it a little differently than I've done for Kazuya and for Hunted. So it's going to be at the end of the campaign. Usually I just did them over Discord and let everybody kind of chime in what they wanted to do. But at the end of the campaign, we'll go, or at the end of the, not campaign, at the end of the arc, we'll go over it, dedicate some game time, and kind of touch on where you guys want to go next. I'm also going to make a handout with it too. So there'll be a handout in Roll20. They can click on. It'll have each thing that's going on in the galaxy, a little HoloNet news bulletin. And you guys can kind of determine, hey, what fits our next move.
Sounds solid.
I'm gonna try and use the roleplay channel because I was back in Kazuya. I tried to be very active for it in the beginning, but anxiety do be anxiety. So I'm gonna try and be active this time around.
We do have a Discord role play channel too, in case there's ever anything that we want to go over off screen or additional after the session. So highly encourage you to use that there. For Fanchin, similar format to how we do the play-by-post campaign for Dungeon Jedi Masters. So it just gives you a little bit extra time to build relationships and touch things out that just playtime may not have had before.
Do like off-screen downtime type stuff too?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Yeah, I'm familiar.
The only other thing, especially with Discord, I'll mention too. So I do session notes at the end of each session too. So I write them in. There should be a Discord thread in there too. So I post them in sometime after the session. Usually try to be, for this one, it's bi-weekly. So usually about a week before, you'll see them in there. It just kind of goes over everything that happened. So if you miss a session, or if I have to go back like 20 sessions, remember something that happened, it's all in there and everybody can find it. So definitely makes life easier. At least for me, I found it makes life easier. Because sometimes I'll make an NPC's name and then just blank on them because they haven't come up for a while. And this way I can scroll and hopefully find them. So that's the last big pieces. I think I've covered everything on that side. Were there any questions you guys had? Lore, about the lore, table rules, my style, or anything on that side?
I did have a so with Black Sun, since they're kind of a little more clandestine. I guess my idea for the backstory, this shouldn't be revealing anything, was that he was going to kind of do, I think I mentioned that like dead drop kind of thing, where like they just get instructions that way and a way of compartmentalizing, so you don't know who the Vigos are, because they could be anybody. You have no idea who you're even actually contacting. So I was just wondering if that was like still something that could work with them.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right,
We
cool.
can definitely make some ways to kind of workshop it to make sure your dead drops work, even if you're not on planet or on the planet too, to be able to connect with the bosses. But yeah, Black Sun is real shadowy. They don't want people to know who they are. They're quiet power more than loud power. They
Yeah.
like to make deals, siphon, assassinations, espionage, but they try to keep themselves out of the limelight. They're not like the Huts, who are a little bit more
Good,
flashy.
wholesome family activities all
Exactly.
around.
Oh yeah, so I did not write this in my notes. So two things, kind of both are tied together. So I posted this, and I will post this in a link somewhere too for the people on the stream. But Koval came out with a really cool video a couple of weeks back about player goals, or PC goals, I should say. So throughout this game too, and I asked everybody what kind of their big goal or what their long-term goal is. But if you do come across short-term goals, I'll try to be listening in as you guys come across it. But if you do come across something, feel free to message me about it too. And we can kind of make that a short-term goal for you. Whether it be like you've heard about the crisis on Alderaan and you really want to get there and rescue those people, that could be your own personal short-term goal. And there will be mechanical bonuses tied to them too. Some may be temporary, some may be small, some may be large, depending on how big of a goal. Excuse me, it is. But this will be something that's player driven. So I'll come up with the mechanical pieces for it. But if you come up with a goal, let me know. We can kind of workshop it, and then it'll be your goal, and we'll tie it to a piece too. So just something that you guys come up with, and just kind of drive your characters. You're developing your kind of the flavor and the backstory and the history of your character and interacting with the world.
Okay.
Caesar
I got some.
eradicating the Huts.
that'll be a crazy mechanical bonus because that'll be a huge goal. That'll be
Just smart genocide.
yes.
You got the
Bring lots of salt.
Here's one of his names for a reason.
Don't make a move. I have salt.
Salt the snail.
Potassium.
Love it always
Salt
sunny
has
reference. Oh, perfect. So those ones, it's entirely up to you. I'm gonna try to listen in, but if you do come across one, especially if I haven't mentioned anything, if you do think of something, throw it in your player channel. So each of you guys have your own player channel in the Discord. I'll take a note of it. If it comes up during the session, I'll probably get back to you a couple days later with kind of what a mechanical bonus or kind of how we'll go about it. But that can definitely be a goal for your PCs. So this one's entirely in your guys' hands. I love that. And I think you guys have already watched it, but if you the other people haven't watched it, I think it's called Goals. Watch that Koval video. It's a really cool one for just different ways to help build out the PCs in the world. So I loved it. Along those same lines, and which kind of triggered it, is faction stuff too. So eventually, sometimes your factions will contact you guys and say, "Hey, we need you to do this." And sometimes it could be something you could do during your downtime. Sometimes it may be something that needs the whole crew, which would be kind of another of those HoloNet news bulletin items where you guys have to kind of talk it through and see if that faction's request is worth the group's time. And the factions will be a lot of them will be generous in kind of rewards they give out to the group as a whole if they come through, especially some of the ones with deeper pockets like Zerka and the Black Sun. But those goals may be a little shady sometimes too, so it's something to keep in mind.
I think it's safe to say that Black Sun's just not going to be something most people are going to be for.
Black Sun has a lot of
shady.
espionage, a lot of information they can provide if you play ball with them. It's same thing with
Listen,
Zerka.
if
They've got deep pockets.
Yeah. As long as I'm being funded and I can do my projects, so blueprints, tech, anything that increases and advances my knowledge, I'm going to be all for it. I don't care what I have to do.
Bars just likes to win. So
He just likes to win.
yeah. Winning is
So-
fun.
We'll do a whole lot of winning on this team.
Oh,
Lots of credits go around
Well-
when you win.
how did we win? No. That's details. We don't need to worry about that.
So do we have like our own Admiral Hackett that will just kind of chime in and tell us stuff from time to time, ask us to do stuff?
Yeah, each faction, and that's the thing.
Okay.
We'll be kind of working with to after everybody's backstories come in. I'll kind of reach out to people and kind of come up with some different contacts. You guys, I meant to write that down too. So you guys will each have some contacts in the galaxy too. So feel free to come to me if you have some already. But I'll be going through your backstories this week and giving you some contacts too that you know of and can reach out to in the galaxy. So that's one of the things that I found that can be hard sometimes in tabletop games. You may not know anybody, or you feel like you feel like your character should know people, but you just don't know people as a player. So I want to give you guys some up front so you can reach out to them when everything gets going and you may need a contact.
With the factions too, for like the leaders, like Dominus and the current Chancellor, I'm forgetting Ovino.
Mhm.
Is that her name?
That's right.
And like the former one too. Are they so public that we would actually know who they are just as regular citizens of the galaxy? Like we've heard their name at least.
Definitely. So none of you probably have met them personally or had interaction, or you may have met them briefly, but nobody would have interactions with them. But you definitely know who they are. So you guys would even know who the Mandalore is, unless you just don't really pay attention to news and who the president of Zerka is. You guys, this is just general information about being around the world, and just unless your PC is just not really interested in global news. Sweet. So those are. Actually, I'll pause again. Actually, one more plug for Invasion. Probably next 2 minutes, I'm going to roll the giveaway bot. You guys will win the 3 months for Dropout TV to catch the latest season with Starstruck using SW5E. So if you haven't put in there, put it all in lowercase into the box, and Nightbot will get you into the running. So put that in there. But before we go to that, or any last minute questions you guys had?
Nope.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Oh, actually, one more thing I do want to touch on. I realize I haven't gone through that with this group. So one of the things I do in my campaigns, inspiration. So you guys have 5 points. Well, I'm slow on math today. 5 points that you could total have for inspiration. You're starting off with 0 though. And for any good RP moments, some really out of the box tactics, anything like that, I will try to reward you a point of inspiration for it. An inspiration can be used if you miss an attack, fail a saving throw, skill check, whatever it may be. You could use that and re-roll it and hopefully get a better result. And all modifiers apply. So if you have some bad luck and with advantage and you miss an attack still, you get to re-roll with advantage. Vice versa is true. If you had disadvantage on something, you still get just another roll with disadvantage. It's one of my favorites. It's always like to kind of encourage some RP is usually what I use it most for, unless you just have some crazy cool tactic for it. But it's kind of cool ways to reward RP. And one thing too, I'm doing a little bit different than I did for Hunted, but for the fans in chat, because a lot of times I get focused on running the game and kind of forget to award the inspiration. But if you guys do see a cool RP moment, type in inspiration, and I'll try to make sure I see those and something that maybe I forgot it or just didn't mention it. We'll kind of award out a point of RP for it too.
I have a feeling that we're going to be getting a lot of inspiration. I just got that feeling with this group.
Read the backstory so far. You guys have some interesting PCs, and I'm really dying to see how they all interact. I feel like that first meeting is going to be fun.
I'm really trying to figure my guy out because, like, I'm filling out a couple of things, but I was thinking like playing like Newt from Fantastic Beasts. So he's like, if you've seen it, he's like super smart, right? But at the same time, he doesn't kind of like, maintain eye contact with people. He kind of looks at the ground, looks away. Like it's not that he's scared or intimidated or anything. He just doesn't interact with people well, and he's more focused on like what he's doing. So that'll be a weird interaction with a lot of you guys who are going to be like really in your face or like, shh, what's up? And I'm just like, hey, I don't know.
Get on my guess.
Yeah, it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be interesting. So I think watching a lot of the previous campaigns, like Todd and yourself, and seeing everybody's interactions, it'll be a trip, I think.
Looking forward to it, especially I guess a cool mix. I can definitely see Talus trying to talk to Dash while he's talking to his own grenade at the moment, and I think that'll be hilarious. While he's talking
I'll literally be putting my ear next to the grenade, like, is it actually saying something? What?
Is there a droid brain in the grenade? Is there a droid? Oh,
That'd be a crazy thing to do. Just Spy actually puts a comm piece on one of the grenades.
And then you get inspired to make talking grenades. Look at that.
Yeah.
Not the weirdest thing Geert's done by far.
I actually have a list
I'm
of.
looking forward to it.
I've got a running list of all the grenades, and when I create them, I'm going to give them names. So I'll introduce all the players to them next time.
I'm sure with Tinker tools or something, I could like add like a pre-recorded like voice recording thing to them, so that like as you pull the pin or whatever and it flies through the air, it's like, "What's up, mother?"
That'd be
or something. I don't,
like a gyroscope. A timer.
Flashing lights, yeah.
Nice to meet you. Boom.
Yeah, the Vong would love that.
Honor bound, no nonsense.
Not only a machine that talks, a machine that talks and explodes.
That just means we have to learn their language fast. The sooner we learn that language, the more fun this is going to be. Just insulting them with a droid. Beautiful.
Why are you so intent on learning? I want to make my bombs make fun of them. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, that actually reminds me, Tegan. I took an energy bow, and that's the thing I modified for Caesar. But I took the confounding attachment, which gives it the disguised and hidden property. I keep forgetting to message it to you, so I'm going to ask you this on stream. Could Caesar's glass eye be the energy bow in disguise?
The glass eye.
It's just really condensed down. You press the pupil and it expands.
Like, how big is that eye, man?
Also, this could be a big eye.
Like a normal sized eye. And then
we know
right
what Jar Jar looks like. Gungans got big eyes. They got the eye stalk too.
Up to chance. So still have the hidden property, so people could figure out your eye is a light bulb if we do go with it. But I'm gonna leave it up to chance. This is something I do too. So sometimes if I if I'm not sure on something, or if I don't have a strong opinion either way, I have you roll D20. 10 plus works out for you. 9 plus it doesn't. So I use that, and sometimes the amount's higher or lower depending on how much I do or do not like it.
So what would the DC for this one would you say?
11 plus.
Natural 20.
I'll figure out something else for it to be, like a cane or something.
That's where my head would have been. Like, oh, a light bulb is disguised. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a cane. So, I want it to be a prosthetic eye. Just beep beep. Zzz.
I was going to take the confounding with a chain gun, and then I was like, what is that going to be? No, we're just going
to... like you're carrying a crate everywhere?
Yeah.
Like, what are you, a laborer? Just
what's in the box?
That's got to be heavy.
Totally non-conspicuous.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so everybody, next session 1, the real play session, will be February 1st. So next Tuesday, 6:30. The crew will kick it off. We'll bring everybody together and hopefully learn a little more about the invasion and this mysterious threat. So that's I wrote, finalized the writing up of it today, which is also kind of a fun thing too. So. Because with us doing it as a Patreon adventure too, so I had a little bit different prep than I usually do. It was kind of fun. I looked at it from a little bit of a different angle. If I was writing for other people, that kind of came up with some cool stuff for myself even too. So I'm looking forward to running it. It should be a little bit of a blast. And now we're kind of wrapping up. Now it's time to do the giveaway. So you guys have like 5 seconds to put invasion in if you haven't already. And I'm going to see if I did this right, and we can roll to see who got the win. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Does it show up in the thing?
I've got it up. Yep.
Oh, it did.
Missed
Sweet.
Missed
Yeah,
all.
missed all. You won. I'm gonna. I think I can. You can send a direct message through Twitch, right?
I think so.
All right. I'm going to send you a direct message. If I can't send it through Twitch, my Discord is TeganDJM, or you can even email me at tjenkins1790@gmail.com, and then we'll send over 3 months of Dropout TV, so you can watch the new Starstruck campaign. Todd and I both got shouted out there, which is kind of crazy to see Brennan shout us out on that side. So you can see that and see the pros play Star Wars 5e. And I've loved it so far. So definitely have a cool season to jump on board for. So perfect. That's everything I had today. So looking forward. Everybody join us next week, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're gonna kick off the campaign. I just gotta get to interact with everybody today. I think we got a fun crew. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be some